back again. We're happy to see you again. And we're implement a lot of sources to have the interviews. And we're happy to see you again. We take a lot of responsibility to take the interviews, and we want to say you that everything is possible about the importance of voting. And you've seen some interviews about the importance of voting, about COVID, how affected in the worldwide, and how about the COVID affected in other countries, and overall about the elections and importance of voting. And we're honored to be a part of you, and we're happy to be a part of this program. And also the final interview would be for our teams. And also take a chance and look it. Thank you, Ricardo, for joining us for this interview. And the first question, do you go for elections to vote, and why?
Yeah, I always go to elections. It happened just once, but I think it's very important because we have to participate in the process of democracy and enjoy the rights that others gave to us. And I think it's also important because if you don't vote, you cannot express yourself in a bad way towards who governs, because you didn't make your choice.
Okay, thank you much, Ricardo. Thank you much. And thank you, Marco, for joining us. And I have a question. How COVID affected to voting process?
For example, in my country, Italy, the administrative election were postponed from summer to autumn. And this affected the COVID, because that means that some politicians, they had to finish their career, they continued to rule in their municipality or in their region, and so yes, this is the first let's say effect. Then by the way, I consider that Italians are still considering voting a very important rights and duty. In fact, we are one of the countries with the highest participation to election, political election, European election. But at the end, I would think that the COVID didn't affect so much the election. Yes.
Okay, thank you much, Marco.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hello, Rebecca. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And I have a question. Do you go for elections to vote, and why?
Sure, I do. I do believe actually that voting is a duty. Like, it is written in our constitution, for example. So I strongly believe that anyone should go voting because it's essential for deciding your own future as a person, but also as a community. So yes, I invite every people to go and voting for themselves and for the well-being of everybody.
And also, I see that you empower people, like they have the responsibility to.
Yeah, sure. It's a responsibility. I mean, nothing is, how do you say, as for free. So you have to be responsible for yourself and for people who you live with, and that means voting and decide what you want to see in the future and the politicians that are going to represent you. So yeah.
Thank you much, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Hello, Evita. Thank you for joining us. And I have a question. Do you go for elections to vote, and why?
Yeah, for sure. Because if it's not me, then who? We all have to, take responsibility for our better future. I think it's very important.
Like for a lot of countries, they think that just voting, it is not a matter of like their lives. Or do you think that some COVID problems that overall the world affected to your country?
Yeah, it for sure has, because now people are more politician-like, because they want some changes. They were unhappy about some decisions that the government made. So now they are trying to be more involved in that. So I think it was one of the best sides from all the COVID.
Okay, thank you much.
Thank you.
Hello, Zahar. Thank you for joining us. and I have a question. Do you go for elections to vote, and why?
So I go to election, but not always. It depends. Last time I was attended on elections because I like the candidate, but before I didn't attend the elections because I didn't accept any ideas of different candidates.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't attend this. But last time I choose. I was on elections and I really like the candidate and I decided to attend this. And now this candidate is our president, and I think everything's going okay with it. So, but I think that every citizen have to attend a voting and have to vote because we're choosing the leader who will lead our country in the future and make our country better.
Okay, thank you, Zahar, very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Samuela. Thank you for joining us. And the question is, how COVID affected to voting process?
Well, COVID really impacted on our voting process in Italy because we had a referendum to go to vote for, but actually COVID really impacted on it because the authority and the government decided to postpone it. So actually it was really important, not for the theme of the referendum itself, but for the signal that people wanted to give to the power and to the government, because it was about reducing the number of parliamentarians. So people after COVID started to be interested more on the topic of COVID and not on the topic of elections. So they their interest in politics decreased while COVID was rising.
As I'm informed that the elections postponed till autumn.
Exactly, yeah.
In the autumn, and after then the elections they just made how it was going to be. They just elect someone, or
it was actually a referendum, but in the meantime also COVID really impacted because we had a change of government, but without going to vote because of the pandemic and because also of the restriction put on in our constitution. So we had like a double deal actually where COVID impacted in our election process.
Okay, Sam, thank you much.
You're welcome.
Thanks to you. Hello, Fanny. Thank you for joining us. And I have a question. Do you go for elections to vote, and why?
Yeah, of course I will be go to vote because I find it very important that each part of the society have to take part a decisions making process. So that's why I think each vote make a sense. So you have to go vote because it's your responsibility to take care about your country's decision-making process.
And also be a part of every civilians they go also, and it would be like responsibility for you to also go and to vote for someone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you much.
You're welcome.
Hello, Pavlos. Thank you for joining us. And I have a question. Do you go for elections to vote, and why?
Yes, I have gone only once for election because I'm too young and it's my first year to participate in the elections.
Yes.
And why?
Do you feel the responsibility of being a part of the elections?
Yeah, I feel some responsibility to vote. Yeah.
And also your country had a huge opportunity to take the chance. And why I'm saying this, because of the COVID, the COVID that damaged a lot of people's lives. How does it to take the responsibility to vote again?
What, with the coronavirus?
Yes, about the coronavirus. How affected coronavirus?
Yeah, well, I don't remember what exactly happened, but I think we had some problems with elections because of the coronavirus.
It changed a lot of things, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Pavlos, thank you much for joining us. Hi guys, happy to see you all again. And I have some questions about how COVID affected and how is the elections and the importance of voting. And the first questions I want to answer. Do you go for elections to vote, and why?
Yeah, I'm going for voting because I think that's voting very important. We elect our leader of our country, that he represent us, represent our beliefs, represent our needs, also in the Greek Parliament, but in European Union. So yeah, it's very important and necessary to be a participant of election.
Okay, thank you. And the other question I want you to ask, how COVID affected to voting process?
I think that yes, in a way, COVID affected the voting because, for example, in my country there were some, in Italy there were some elections that were postponed because of the COVID, and so people didn't go to vote, and also people maybe lost a bit of attention to policies and to also the willing to go voting. So in a way, yes, COVID affected the voting.
Okay, thank you. And the last question I want you to ask, do you think people of your country consider voting?
My country, Lithuania, I think they doesn't consider voting enough because they do not speak about it in their time, and we can only see some opinions on the social media and very rarely on the streets, like chatting with the friends. So I think we need to express some awareness, and because the youngsters are a huge part of our society and their votes could have an influence of outcome of the elections.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, and I want to thank you all, guys. Thank you to be part of our team, to be part of our interview. And it was the Mark Show. See you soon. Take care.